viewers, welcome to T4U Tutorials. In this video we will be flying a complete flight from Mosnov to Ruzyne with a Boeing 737 flight. We have opted for an IFR flight that to a direct GPS, and also we have set our cruising altitude as 16,000 feet. So let's start by getting the IFR clearance from Mosnov Tower.
Mosnov Tower, Boeing, November 737 Tango, IFR to Ruzyne, ready to copy. Boeing, November 737 Tango is cleared to Ruzyne Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 10,000. Departure frequency is 118.7, squawk 7226.
Read back the IFR clearance.
Boeing, November 737 Tango, cleared at Ruzyne Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 10,000. Departure on 118.7, squawk 7226. Boeing 387 Tango, readback is correct. Contact ground on 120.8 when ready to taxi.
So let's look to the ATC clearance. They have asked us to climb and maintain 10,000 feet, and this means this is our initial altitude after takeoff. So set this to the autopilot panel altitude section, and I have set it to 10,000 feet, and our speed must be 250 knots below 10,000 feet. So set that the speed, using the speed now, and I have set speed as 250 knots, and have switched on the flight director, and so we have to set our flaps 5 by pressing F7 key 3 times. I have set my flaps to 5, and because we will be using flaps 5 normally for takeoff as well as for taxiing, so let's set that. And now let us request our taxi clearance.
Mosnov ground, Boeing, November 737 Tango with Papa, ready to taxi IFR. Boeing, November 737 Tango, taxi to and hold short of runway 4, using taxiway Foxtrot, Echo. Contact tower on 120.8 when ready.
So let's acknowledge the taxi clearance.
Taxiing hold short runway 4, using taxiway Foxtrot, Echo. Boeing 37 Tango.
So now let's bring up the overhead panel, switch on the taxi lights on, and we have our anti-collision lights on. Now switch on the strobe lights, and now let's start our pushback by pressing Shift B. Before that, turn on the progressive taxi. This will show a yellow arrow mark on your taxi line, and now let's press the Shift B button. Our flight is moving back. Okay, so I am going to I'm going to skip this taxi section for you because it will take a lot of time. It's a very long taxi way. So let me skip this taxi section for you, and I'll take this flight to the runway 4. So we are almost near runway 4. Always remember that while you taxi, you should not exceed about 30 to 40 knots, and also you should move above the yellow line on the taxiway. This keeps your flight inside the taxiway. And also, if the ATC have asked us to fall short of runway, you should stop your flight before that yellow double line across the taxiway, as you see it here. I'm stopping here, bringing my throttle back to idle and setting the parking brakes. And now let's get the takeoff clearance.
Mosnov Tower, Boeing, November 737 Tango, ready to go. Runway 4, IFR to Ruzyne. Boeing, November 737 Tango, cleared for takeoff. Runway 4. Cleared for takeoff. Runway 4, Boeing, November 737 Tango.
So before our takeoff, I'll set the auto brake to RTO and arm the auto throttle and switch on the landing lights here. And now let us continue to our takeoff. I'll release the parking brake and now setting a little throttle. By pressing shift 4, you can bring up your throttle quadrant here. Okay, so I have aligned with the runway, almost aligned with the runway. Let me align completely. Okay, so not aligned runway. Now let me check the. Okay, so I'm setting the takeoff thrust now. Pressing shift by pressing F4. I will rotate at 150 knots. Okay, rotating now, pulling my stick back by pressing the down arrow key. So I have taken off. As we are climbing up, bring our gear up by pressing G. So our gear is up now. Now press F6 and bring your flaps to 1. Arm the auto throttle. Sorry. Press the speed button. Command and altitude hold. Acknowledge the handoff.
118.7 Boeing 37 Tango. Mosnov departure, Boeing November 737 Tango is at 3000.
And set your auto brakes to off.
10,000. Boeing November 737 Tango Mosnov departure, roger. Altimeter 2992. Boeing 37 Tango, turn left heading 275. Zoom on navigation, climb to maintain 10,000. Boeing 37 Tango, turn left heading 245, climb to maintain 10,000. Turn left heading 245, climb and maintain 10,000.
So
Boeing 37 Tango.
I have to turn left to heading 245, so I'm setting my heading here. as 245. And I'm pressing my heading hold select button. So now you can see that the flight is turning left.
Boeing 37, hang up, please expedite your turn to heading 245.
And now let's bring our stick back to the normal position. In a real flight this will be done automatically by the autopilot, but here we have a limited reality in FSX, so we have to bring it back by our own. We all know that this is the altitude strip and here is the speed. So this indicates your current altitude, and here this indicates your current airspeed. It's at 250 knots, and here we are climbing to 10,000. So once we pass 10,000 feet, there are little procedures which we will do. We will switch off our landing lights, and we will also be increasing our speed from 250 knots to 280 knots. So let's wait till the flight crosses 10,000 feet. We are almost near 10,000 feet. Before that, I'll explain this.
Boeing 37, hang up, contact Prague Center on 118.375. 118.375 for Boeing 37 Tango. Mosnov departure, Boeing November 737 Tango, with you 9,900. Boeing November 737, hang up, Mosnov departure, roger, altimeter 2992. Boeing 37, hang up, turn left heading 245, climb and maintain 16,000. Turn left heading 245, climb and maintain 16,000. Boeing 37 Tango.
So they have asked us to climb and maintain 16,000, and let's increase our altitude to 16,000. Okay, so the flight will start climbing to 16,000, which is our cruising altitude.
Contact Prague Center on 118.375. 118.375 for Boeing 37 Tango. Prague Center, Boeing November 737 Tango is climbing through 10,500 for 16,000. Boeing November 737 Tango, Prague Center, roger. Altimeter 2992.
As we have passed 10,000 feet, let's switch off the landing lights and also increase our increase our speed to 280 knots. And here is our multifunction display, and this pink solid line over here shows the route for us, and this triangle shows our flight. So since we are approaching this,
Boeing 37 Tango, turn right heading 280, proceed on course.
okay, so
Turn right heading 280, proceed on course. Boeing 37 Tango.
so let's turn to 280 now. And the ATC have requested us to proceed on course, so we once they say to proceed on course, they won't give us more instructions on heading. So we should resume our flight through this pink line which we have routed. By pressing shift 3 you can bring up your GPS, and this pink solid line shows the route which you must follow. So now for that, switch your nav GPS mode to GPS, and then press VOR LOC button, which is your nav hold switch. Now the flight will automatically move through this pink solid line which is there in this GPS. Now you can see that the flight is automatically aligning to the pink solid line here. So the flight have resumed their own navigation. Here you can see that the triangle line is now getting aligned to this pink solid line. This pink dotted line shows your heading, which you have set it in this heading now. If I change this, you can see that the pink dotted line is now, if I have set 298, yeah, the pink line is heading towards 298. If it is 300, here it is 300. And this pink solid line shows your route which you have filed, the direct GPS route. So we are now at 15,000 feet, approaching 16,000 feet. Once you are on your 16,000 feet, which is your cruising altitude, you can increase your speed from 280 knots to 320 knots. You will be cruising on 16,000. So we are almost near 16,000, and okay, so you have reached 16,000 feet. Now you can increase your speed from 280 knots to 320 knots. Okay, so this is how we fly. When the ATC gives us instruction on heading, just change your heading and this using this knob, and if they ask us to change the altitude, you'll be changing using this knob. And you can increase your vertical speed, your ascending and descending rates using this knob. Now let us skip a little of this flight. So I have skipped a little of the flight, and if you check the ATC menu, you have options to increase your cruising altitude as well as decrease it. You can do it by as per your wish, and I'm not doing anything. I have set my cruising altitude at 16,000 feet. So they have asked us to turn to 310, so let's set to 310, and now change your nav to GPS mode back to nav, and then press the heading select button, and then acknowledge the assigned approach.
Turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 4,000, expect vectors
So now we have to reduce our altitude to 4,000 feet. So this means that we have started our descent, and now let's reduce our speed to 280 knots because we are going down from our cruising altitude. So let's keep this to 280 knots for now. And now they have assigned ILS runway 31 for our approach. So let's set up our flight for the landing now. The first step you do is press your Alt key, and here you have options there. Go to World, select Map, or you have Map button here, display height map button, click on it, and let's see the airport. Here is our airport. If you zoom in to the airport here, you can see runway 31 here. So this is runway 31, and our flight route has ended in the runway 31. And here is the green line indicates the localizer of the runway 31. Now click on runway 31, and here you have details about our runway. It's an ILS type runway, and here is our frequency 109.50, and here is the heading 305. So copy these values, 109.50 and 305, and let's go to here in the scores button. You set your heading on the runway, which is 305. Here you have set your runway heading, and now go to your radio stack. Acknowledging instruction. Let's head to 275. Okay, so I have set here to 275. Now press Shift 2 to bring your radio stack. Just enlarging it for convenience. And here you have your nav 1. So here set your runway ILS frequency, which is 109.50. I have set a 109.50, and now press this button, which will exchange your standby and active values. Now here you have 109.50 in the active section. Normally we will switch on the nav1, the MKR and the DME buttons here, but for now I'm leaving it off because it will be difficult for my commentary. Now let's keep an eye on the altitude, and once you cross 10,000 feet, when we are below 10,000 feet, we will have to switch on our landing lights, and also we have to reduce our speed back to 250 knots.
Boeing 37 Tango, contact Mosnov approach on 123.675. 123.675 for Boeing 37 Tango. Choslov approach, Boeing November 737 Tango is out of 11,300 for 4,000. Boeing November 737 Tango, Choslov approach, roger, altimeter 2992.
Okay, so we are approaching 10,000 feet, so bring your overhead panel, switch on your landing lights, and bring your speed back to 250 knots. Always remember to switch back your nav GPS mode back to nav position, or else your flight will not be established on the localizer properly. So always switch back to nav position before you hit this heading select button. And now bring your throttle quadrant by pressing Shift 4 and arm your speed brake. Okay. Okay, let's arm it throttle quadrant here. I have armed my speed brakes. Okay, so let's reduce our speed a little to 210 knots.
Boeing 37 Tango, turn left heading 245. Turn left heading 245. Boeing 37 Tango.
So let's head to
Boeing
245.
37 Tango, contact Cavelli approach on 124.675. 124.675. Boeing 37 Tango. Cavelli approach, Boeing November 737 Tango, is at 6,000 for 4,000.
Boeing November 737 Tango Cavelli approach, roger, altimeter 2992. Boeing 37 Tango, turn left heading 215.
Technology instruction.
Turn left heading 215. Boeing 37 Tango.
And we are setting our heading to 215 now. As our speed is now approaching 210 knots, we can increase our flaps to 5 by pressing F7 key 3 times. You can hear a sound of a warning alarm. This means that your speed was above the flat limit speed, so I have to reduce my speed a little more so that, okay, now the speed is okay, which means that now the speed is below the flat limit speed. So let me decrease the speed a little more to 190 knots. And as my speed is below 200 knots now, I'm increasing flaps to 10. Since I have armed my speed brake, you can see here speed brake arm button is glowing. We are waiting for further instructions from ATC. Until we receive further instructions, we will be continuing our flight. So now let's reduce our speed a little more to 180 knots, and let's set our flaps 15. here is your flap indicator, flap position indicator, and it's now pointing towards 15.
Boeing 37, hang up, you are 24 miles, turn right, heading to 80 on to maintain 4000, cleared ILS, runway 31, approach, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, contact Ruzyne Tower, 119.7.
Acknowledge the instruction
Right,
now.
heading 280, climb and maintain 4000, cleared ILS, runway 31, approach, maintain 4000 until established, tower on 119.7, Boeing 37 Tango.
This instruction shows that this is the final turn to our approach. So let's set our heading to 280 for our final turn to the approach. And now you can press the approach button. Remember that we have already set all the ILS frequency of the runway to our navigator, so let's press the approach button and tune to Ruzyne Tower.
Ruzyne Tower, Boeing November 737 Tango is 23 miles southeast, inbound ILS, runway 31, approach. Boeing November 737 Tango, Ruzyne Tower, fly straight in, runway 31, altimeter 29902. Make straight in, runway 31, Boeing 37 Tango.
So let's decrease our speed a little more to 170 knots and increase the flaps to 25. And now press the G button to bring our landing gears down. Here you can see that the below glide slope button is glowing, and here this means that your flight is now below glide slope. Once the flight is above the glide slope, it will this light will get off, and here the altitude hold switch will be turned off automatically. And here you have two pink markers on the either sides. This indicates your glide slope, and this indicates your localizer. So once this pink marker is here without moving, it shows that your flight has aligned perfectly to the runway. And if this pink marker reaches the center point, it shows that your flight is now above the glide slope. In the same manner, if you look into the multifunction display, here you have a pink marker, and if this marker is aligned in the center position without any movement, it shows that your flight is perfectly aligned to the runway. Now let's check whether we have the runway in sight. Okay, so forgot to set the auto brakes. Set the auto brakes to 2 before you land. still the pink marker is not stable in the center point, which means that we have not correctly aligned to the runway yet. Flight is still continuing its alignment. Once it has finished alignment, you can see the yellow marker on the center without moving to any sides. We are almost aligned to the runway. Okay, there is the runway. I can see the runway, a small strip of the runway. Okay, I hope you can see him. Here is our runway, and we have almost aligned to the runway. Okay, the pink marker is near the center point, so this below glide slope button will be off in some time. Yeah, we have our altitude hold switch off, so this below glide slope button will be switched off nearly. So that now let's reduce the speed to 140 knots. That will be our approach speed. Setting it to 140 knots. Set our approach speed as 150 knots. I think that will be our speed.
Boeing 37 Tango, cleared to land, runway 31. Cleared to land, runway 31. Boeing 37 Tango.
So we have received our landing clearance, and here the flight is descending towards the runway. You can see that our altitude is decreasing. And here the pink marker is almost in the center, so this shows that your flight is perfectly aligned right now. And also here the pink marker is in the center, so our alignment is complete, and we are descending towards the runway. The runway, so let's disarm the auto throttle, and I'm disengaging the autopilot. Have taken the controls manually. Was near the runway, and I'm flaring now. Right, will be stick up and waiting for a touchdown. Okay, we have touched. So bring here, you can know, and I have this on the auto reverse thrust. Okay, I have reached below 70 knots, so I am disarming reverse
Boeing
thrust.
37 Tango, exit runway when able.
Okay, so let's give a little thrust because we have to exit the runway now. So I've given some thrust and I am switching off my auto brake button.
Boeing 37 Tango, turn next taxiway. Boeing 37 Tango, turn next taxiway.
Okay, so let's stop here for now and give acknowledgement.
Boeing 37 Tango, please acknowledge. Point 121.9er, Boeing 37 Tango.
Now tune to Ruzyne ground. Request taxi to gates.
Ruzyne ground, Boeing November 737 Tango, taxi to the gate. Boeing November 737 Tango, taxi to gate 8, using taxiway Golf Foxtrot Hotel Bravo Alpha. Taxiing to gate 8 via taxiway Golf Foxtrot Hotel Bravo Alpha, Boeing 37 Tango.
So right now I'll be continuing my taxiing through Golf Foxtrot Hotel Bravo Alpha. So I'm skipping this part for you people. Okay, so we have almost reached our gates now, and by this turn we will be reaching the gates. Have to stop here, set my parking brakes. And now you can okay, well, I have to move a little more. My alignment wasn't that perfect. Very sorry about that. Okay, so now it's perfect somewhat. Now we have to press the Control J button, and now you can see that our jetway is moving towards the flight. Okay, so the gateway is attached, and that's the end of our flight. So hope I have told you everything. I think I didn't miss anything. Just one thing I have to tell you is about the landing. When you land, after the touchdown, what you have to do is you have to set your thrust to 0 to idle, and then engage your reverse thrust by pressing and holding F2. Once your speed is decreased and when it reaches 70 knots, disengage or bring your throttle back to idle, which means disengage the reverse thrust, because below 70 knots engaging reverse thrust will cause damage to your engine. So normally below 70 knots, your reverse thrust is not set, and then exit the runway as soon as possible. So this is the flight. Thank you so much. If you have any queries, please comment below. I'll help you with that. And really sorry for the audio, for the low quality audio as well as my language. Hope this video helps you. Bye bye. See you in the next video.